Hey man, so in this video, I'm gonna be telling you about the extra stuff that Deepwoken has to offer once you've learned the base game. And if you still need help with the beginner stuff of the game, you can check out my beginner guide. I'll put it on the top right corner, as well as in the description. So please drop a sub, as I would really appreciate reaching higher goals, and drop a like to push this out to more people if you do find this helpful. Without any more yapping, let's begin. So first off, we have oaths. These are a direct upgrade to your build, and you can only have one of the current oaths that are in the game. I'll be putting a link to the wiki so you can see all oaths and see which one fits you the best. Almost every oath has a requirement. All of them and their obtainment is listed below in the wiki as well. There is another type of ability you can get in-game called Murmurs. There is 3 different types of it, one being Ardor, which reduces the amount of posture that you take and you deal more. This is the most common of the 3 for obvious reasons and is obtained upon slaying the Dread Serpent. This Murmur also has a talent that you can get if you happen to have 40 willpower and 15 strength too. You can activate it by holding down H, and it does a loud scream, and the opponents affected by it can be dealt with 25% more damage and doubled posture upon hitting them, while the effect is still up. The second one is called Tacit. To obtain this, you need to complete bounties and kill people. These bounties have to be from a board, and cannot be done from a quest, like the guy that asks you to kill people at a Regia or Songseeker. You require 5 kills, and once you're done, talk to this guy at Mirror Owl called Cestes, and he will give you Tacit right away. In PvE, you may take this to avoid any mobs at any distance. This doesn't work in Hell mode though. In PvP, the radius is around 40 studs. There is also a mantra you can get with it if you choose to take the Jiscarita fighting style, and you don't need any light for it, since you just unlock Jiscarita once, and you're gonna have it on your next new character, so you can simply start off with it and go like heavy. Careful though, when you level up, I recommend you have your Jiscarita equipped so you can roll it in your cards. This mantra called the Tacit Dropkick is pretty good for light, and honestly it can be used on any situation. Last one we have is the Rhythm Murmur. In order to obtain this one, you will need to do a little minigame in Layer 2, which essentially shows you a marker you have to interact with the hole that the marker indicates to, and there's a sound cue as well. Simple. Allows you to indicate an opponent's health status to your allies, essentially pinging their health. All Murmurs abilities scale with the power level you have, which means they essentially take up your ether, but you shouldn't see any side effects if you're power 20, and your Murmurs are basically going to be at their max potential. Another ability you can unlock for your character is the Bell. You can simply get this with defeating multiple bosses in the game and then bell checking, as we call it, which is essentially you getting knocked in the depths. The way I recommend doing this though is by killing Duke, which is located in the Duke's Manor. Also for bell checking, I recommend going to Layer 2, as it's a lot safer to just die there, because if you go in Layer 2 from talking to Clarice, you're actually not gonna wipe. If you still have the light hook, of course, you can see the timer for that. It's on the item. Do mind, to progress a bell, you will have 3 paths to progress it, and only one gives you massive EXP per character. And those paths are bosses, PvP, or the depths. So that means you basically either have to kill bosses and get fast EXP for the bell. You're either gonna have to grind in the depths or kill other people by fighting them. In time of conflict, I'm pretty sure, but I'm really not sure about the overworld. One last thing you're gonna have in your build is a Regalia. You don't necessarily need these, and there isn't a direct way of getting them. It just basically whenever you spawn in with a new character, you have a chance at getting a Regalia, and there's currently 4 different Regalias in the game. Those include Mute, also known as Animal King, which lets you go unseen by any mob that isn't humanoid, meaning they don't aggro you. Prodigy, which gives you increased EXP and attribute training speed by an unknown amount. Inspired, which grants you increased EXP for Bell for all the paths. And there is one last one, which is not that important, it just gives you an extra dialogue option at the legendary boot at Regia. Each time you wipe, you get an amount of echoes based on the things you've done on your whole journey. Those things matter since you can use echoes for upgrades that will be useful for countering monsters, as well as some other benefits. A list of everything that gives you echoes will be down in the description. So you may have noticed these artifacts. Well, they're kinda useless. You need to take them back to a main town and turn them into a banker, and they give bad loot pretty much, so yeah, just don't even bother. The shrines on which you can optimize your build to. More on what each does is all explained at the wiki. Yuntrol is not a shrine technically, but I want to count him in on this. So essentially what you can do is, if you have gotten your bell, you will be able to open this door in order to talk to him, and you'll have a wish for the first time you're there with that same character. You'll be able to either re-roll the bell, ask him to take you out of the depths, or reset your vows or oath, which is only resetting your oath if you have oathless. To get more wishes, you will have to go to layer 2 and do a certain quest. There's a certain type of items called relics. We mentioned those a little earlier, so I'm gonna get into them right now. These are some usually insanely rare items that can be used up to adjust your build. There will be a lot more added into the game, but for the time being, there's only 6 of them in-game. There's one that gives you a Yuntrol wish, which essentially is the same function as the Yuntrol shrine, one to corrupt your bell, one to max out your knowledge, one that makes it rain in an area, one that makes an area in Void Zone, I'm going to explain that in a second, and one that lets you upgrade the amount of stars on your weapon, and when it's 3 stars it rerolls the pip. That Void Zone I mentioned is simply a place where if you die in it, you get sent to the depths immediately, regardless of your lives. There are places like that by default as well. There's also a newly added feature, the bank. Basically, you can store any item in there, and that also includes items you're normally not allowed to drop, allowing you to access those items on other slots. Do mind though that a lot of items do cost knowledge to put into the bank. It's always 1 knowledge though, and it isn't charging you for taking stuff out of the bank. It starts off with you having 5 slots, and you can have up to 60 slots as of the time of recording this. You can upgrade your storage using the in-game currency of notes. Now, one super last thing I want to talk about quickly is the guilds and guild bases. You can create your own guild at any guild house which is located in main towns of the game. Guild bases are automatically attained by the leader. Officers may decide to spawn them for free, and members will have to purchase dwelling charms from inside the guild base. You can buy several rooms and services for notes. More on that on the link in the description about costs and what each room does. Anyways, I know at points this may have seemed more like a video that redirects you to other places more than anything, though I wanted to get straight into the point. Please subscribe, as I would really appreciate getting higher goals, and yeah, let me know in the comments down below if I've missed anything, give me feedback and all that, and yeah, take care.